Welcome to the WD Lounge where film, music, and culture connects. And we're back here with another video. We're talking about the collapse and the fall of Spirit Airlines. Apparently, May 2nd was doomsday for the Spirit Airlines. And it's an airline that's been going through a lot of turmoil, a lot of problems, a lot of bankruptcies. And it was just a lot going on with them. And for those who don't know already at this point right now, Spirit closed their doors May 2nd. They flew their last flight and no bankruptcy, no bailout, nothing. They just completely closed the doors, canceled all the flights, and they're done. So Spirit is no more. And so what does that mean for a lot of people that have traveled, a lot of airlines? It's definitely a landscape of things. It's definitely going to be a lot of it's definitely going to be a lot of things that's going to be changed going forward in aviation. Let's just go there for a minute. Even though Spirit was one of those airlines that's not considered top tier as far as like Deltas and Uniteds and so forth, Spirit was what their motto was cheap tickets, conveniency. So what they did was, their motto was to charge for charge cheap tickets and get the other money from the back end with extra charges such as uh, baggage claims, seating, refreshments on the plane, and those things which should be which normal pass which other airlines accommodate for. Spirit didn't do that as such, so that was so much their business model. And to say it didn't work is not a fair assessment because they were on the grid for about, I think, 40 years, a little over 40 years now, and their business model worked up to that point, up to this point. But it just came to a point where after two bankruptcies, filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcies, they just went under May 2nd, and Spirit is no longer there, and it's no longer an airline. And how this hurts, not hurt the aviation, but the aviation industry, but it just does change a lot of things because now you're filling a void. Because remember, Spirit Airlines had built a customer base because they had the one thing that stood out to other different airlines. It was cheap. And there's a lot of people, myself included, who used to travel with Spirit, and I always considered it as such as a ride, nothing of the experience that I need or anything like that. Because I'm a frequent traveler, so I used to be um I'm a frequent flyer, so I travel a lot. And the thing about traveling for me, it's an experience because one thing I learned, and usually hear this, but you don't really understand it until you actually do travel. Before, people would always say airport prices are expensive, and you would never buy anything in an airport, and so on and so forth, and which is understandable. If you're a local person and you're going to the airport, of course prices are going to be different. But for me, when I travel, it's an experience because you're actually, going through the whole process, getting to the airport. For me, my whole journey begins the moment I pass TSA. The moment I pass that and I'm in the terminal, my experience for wherever I'm going starts from the airport. So therefore, I make sure that whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to enjoy myself. So I always get to the airport about an hour or 2 hours before my flight, and just just for the sake of just being there to make sure I don't miss my flight. And I would probably go to a restaurant or a bar and have me something, drinks, or have something to eat, and have myself relax before I get to the to my flight destination and so on and so forth. So for me, it's an experience. It's just the whole process. But for Spirit, I would use Spirit more likely as a just a, a convenient ride to get where I need to go and come back, because from for the experience, I can't say I can't. I'm not gonna. The experience is different. You know, there's a lot of things they accommodate for that they don't. You know, there's other things that they accommodate for aside, except other than the accommodations that most airlines accommodate. For example, like their sense of humor. You know, that's the one positive thing I could say about Spirit. Spirit, you know, most of their flight attendants made sure their sense of humor was always witty and always jokey, and you know they'll catch you if you slip, and they'll catch you off guard. You know what I'm saying? They'll throw a joke out there, and they'll have everybody giggling. They always had these raffles and all of these games. You know, they always tried to keep the flight entertaining, but you know, the fact of the matter is, when something is cheap and everybody has access to it, not everyone that has that, you know, there's a lot of people that come in and just you know are rowdy, or are causing trouble, or get into issues with the customer service based on the baggage prices and all the restrictions and regulations and stuff like that. So it kind of gave Spirit a very bad reputation, and you know, as you can see, people showing many clips of, you know, everything just going down in Spirit is just like this. It's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? There's always something going down in Spirit, or you know, there's always a bad experience in Spirit, and you know, and I can contest to it. You know, I can also admit myself, I've had my experience. I've had my great experiences with Spirit, but I've also had some bad experiences. Also with other airlines, you know, I've had a cancellation with Spirit a couple of times, cancellation or two with Spirit. But on the other time, at the same time, you know, Spirit has helped me get by, especially when I was on a budget for something, or if I had a big purchase, or I had something going on and I couldn't really have the expenses to travel the way I want to. Spirit was always a convenient ride for me to get there, but that's what it would be, you know. And I think for themselves, you know, that mantra started hurting them, because like I was going back to what I was saying, for me, the what the straw that broke the camel's back for me when I was riding Spirit was what was one trip I was going to Fort Lauderdale, my Florida, and I landed there, and I had a big duffel bag, but the you know, I was coming from Massachusetts, so I flew from Boston, Massachusetts, that is. I flew from Boston and went to Fort Lauderdale, and with this same bag, no changing or no alteration of what I had in the bag or not. I wasn't checked in Boston, but then in Fort Lauderdale, when I was trying to get on the plane, they checked my bag, and they said my bag wasn't fit enough to not be checked, so it's not considered. It was considered like a carry-on, so they were trying to charge me. So they charged me $100, and I was trying to dispute it, but not in a hostile way. But I was trying to be understanding and let them know, like, hey, I had the bag already. It wasn't checked before. Why is it an issue now? And they gave me an ultimatum. They're like, look, you pay the $100 or you don't fly. Plain and simple. So for me, I was like, oh wow, is this what it is? I'm like, all right. So I paid the $100. Long story short, I said to myself, you know what? It's it, for that. It's not even. It's worth me paying the extra 40 or $50 to go to airlines where I don't have to go through this inconveniences, because sometimes when I travel, I like to overpack a little bit, just so I have enough for something else that pops up. I hate to travel and not have enough. You know, that's the worst thing for me. So I always do that. So having a carry on and having a personal backpack or a duffel bag is usually more convenient for me. So for that, I would rather just pay the $40 to $45 that I need to pay extra, the what the ticket is, than to go through the hassle and the headache and the inconvenience of that. You know, that traveling is already a stressful thing as it is, and to have to go through those hassles with certain airlines, and you don't know with an airline, and you don't know when or where is it going to happen. It makes you, you know, second guess them. So for me, that was the last straw for me, and I think, you know, I think I might have traveled one more time with them, and it was one of those things where it was just like it was a last minute thing. I had no choice. And just to say, as much as I didn't like what they did to me, and I said I vowed not to fly with them, they still came in the clutch for me. And so, I'm kind of mixed with it, and I don't know if I said that in the middle, in the beginning of the video. I'm sure I did, but if I didn't, I'm saying it right now. I'm kind of mixed between the two because um, Spirit did do things that upsetted me to the point where I didn't want to use them anymore. But at the same time, they did come in the clutch for me when I needed them. Having said that, also the fact that when they went down, all the passengers that were stranded that they just canceled on, and all the employees, I think about 13,000 approximately, were let go without any warning. I mean, there's warning from social media, but not the corporate warning. I mean, it just imagine that, you just go to work and all of a sudden, you're out of a job, and now you're in an industry where it's already competitive to enter based on the training and stuff like that. And you only get so many chances because there's so many people trying to get in. Now it's going to be that much more in demand for other airlines to spread their wings, and it's unfortunate because when you're in there, most people that are working with airlines, they tend to stay because the benefits of flying for free is the best thing going when it comes to working with aviation. So I know a lot of people are very heartbroken when it comes to that, but just the fact of 13,000 people without a job, especially with this economy and the way gas prices are going up, groceries are going up, so many things are going up. People are in a dire need, and they're going to be struggling because of this situation. So I feel bad for those people and the employees as well. But at the same time, it's like, Spirit was taking the money, but they weren't really caring for their customers. And there's a lot of people that are like, indifferent as well. And I've heard there's a petition out there where uh, the community, the community uh, they raised up $20 million in order to make it a community type of airline ran by the community or so. And you know that's a real show of commitment to where there is a lot of part of people that really are heartbroken that Spirit is gone, and they're going out their way to get it revived or put it in some hands where it can come back and kind of revamp its reputation, so that way not only will it be a cheap flight, but it'll be an enjoyable flight and experience as well, like the other airlines are pitching. But like I said, everybody has their opinion about the whole situation. I just want to speak from it from a personal perspective. I'm not gonna sit there and keep bashing them because for every airline, there's always a good and a bad experience. It's just part of traveling. If you do it enough, you're gonna run into situations where you're gonna miss flights. You're gonna have canceled flights. You're gonna have bags missing. You're gonna have bags that can't fit, double charge, yada yada yada. It's gonna happen. It happened to me. I was salty about it. That's why I didn't fly with them. But I wound up being in a situation I had to fly. So hey, I'm human. That's why I'm mixed with it. You know what I'm saying? I hate to see them go, but at the same time, it's like, hey, the route they were going at this point right now, it was just, I guess, a matter of time. But it just sucks that people that had their trust into the airline, that invested, that were loyal to it, had the loyal rewards and everything, they're just left in the mud right now. And they're talking about a lot of the passengers that were canceled, that their flight was canceled and they were stranded, that Spirit was going to find a way to refund their money. But at this point right now, there's nothing going on. Operation has ceased. There's nothing, nada, zilch, nothing. Yeah. You feel me? So it's like it's nothing going on right now. Operation has ceased. So how are these people going to get their money? That's the question you want to ask. Like, how are these people going to get their money? It'll be interesting to see, but it's unfortunate. I do know a few people that has worked with Spirit, that I need to reach out to myself and check them out and see how things are going. Because I know in a situation like that, being bombarded, it's an emotional situation, and um, I can't say I can relate, but I know what it feels like to work hard for something and to have it just taken away from you. I've been in that situation before, so I can definitely relate. But y'all, tell me what y'all think about this. I know I probably didn't structure this thing right, but I had a rant about this because I too I was a loyal flyer. I flew with them a lot, but I had my personal say and I had my personal take on it. And it's just my opinion, you know what I'm saying? Let me know yours in the comments section. Just let me know what you think. How do you feel about Spirit going down? You know what I mean? Do you think it was coming? Do you feel bad for the other people? I mean, do you feel it was unfair that they treated their customers the way they did up until the last point by putting the nail in the coffin or putting the icing on the cake by canceling their flight and having passengers stranded and employers, I'm sorry, employees, about 13,000 of them without a job? I mean, let me know what you think. Leave it on the comment section. Thanks for listening to us. If you like the show, just like, share, subscribe, tune into the next show, and we're gonna definitely keep this thing rolling.